So press the start button. Okay, there we go. Yay! Okay. Yes, we're going to do database. PHP and database. I have an example. So maybe that makes the assignment not so hard to pass, I guess. But there is an example code showing a lot of the stuff, how it's being done. But then again, we're doing a lot of programming languages and techniques and different development environments, so I guess that's the way we have to do it, should do it, maybe, yeah. It would be too hard to write this from the bottom of nothing to ourselves. You actually need to learn the different programming languages at more the base. Learn how to debug them, develop, how the type works and everything. But we'll see. So I have a lot of database stuff, and I think I'm going to go through the code. We'll see how they work, and we'll go through them. But before I start with the database, let me just show you this example program. I just want to show you how you can work with classes. I'm also going to show you an example how you can work with functions. So this is an example showing up how obviously I have something. I have an object I'm writing out there. I have another object writing out there. This is just hints where you could go on to read. So let's review this example program. And where do I have it? I have it here, I guess. So I'm in, yes, I'm in course repo, I'm in example, I'm in PHP. And I just want to see how the person, oh, it was here, how the person looks like. So, okay. Person. Did that actually work? I wonder. So, sample program, I have put the class definition in another file. It's here. I'm working with creating new objects. New person. I'm working with the two objects. So I'm calling a member method of it. So here we have, this is the object. And I use the dot operator to sort of connect to the members of the object. So this is a member method, sending something in there, and then I separate it, and then I print it out. So I print out the details there. Yeah, end of story. So just a way to work with classes and objects, and we can review the class file. Looks a bit like this. So this, yeah, we always need to start this PHP tag. Then we have a class. Well, pretty much like the JavaScript class we saw the other day, but pretty much like any class in any language, more or less. Labeling these are the member variables, so the properties. And like you can put them in private, protected, and public. Those are the visibility declarations we can do. We have the name of the property. I can give it a startup value if I want to. I don't have to. I could also do like this. So, and there is a constructor. Looks like this in this language. So it's a constructor. We always have destructors, but we rarely use the destructors. We don't need to. So we have a constructor, but I doesn't do nothing in that currently, just to show it off. And then we have this public function, name of it, argument sent in, and I can do suggest the types in PHP. These are sort of new stuff, the latest 2-3 years, latest revisions of PHP. You can do like this, so it looks a bit nicer than before when you only sent in the variable then. So it's a loosely typed language, and we don't really need these types, but it looks good. And I now more I always use typing. Argument, default argument value, proposed return type. I don't need this all either. I can just remove it. So in older PHP you couldn't write that. You can write that from PHP like 7.1 perhaps. We're currently up to 7.4 in the PHP version that's live out now. So I say this method returns nothing. It's just taking that incoming argument and putting it to the property. And you see we have a $this reflecting to the current object I'm working with, current instance. And I'm using the dot to refer to a property or method of this object. So set occupation, it's the same. Get details returns a string. I return it, I just do some string interpolation, and since I have a bit more complex structure on is a $this arrow name, I wrap it into curly braces, so ensure that it actually works in this interpolation string. Okay. Just wanted to show you how you could write your code into classes and so. So let's move to our connect. So let's see what we're going to do now. Let's remove some stuff here. Let's remove more stuff. Let's make some space here. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through the example code and see how the basic setup of it. So I have here a what was it called? Connect test. So let's review that first. It's connecting to the database, it's doing a query, and it's doing var dump just to put it out. So let's see how that works like. This looks more or less the same as if I would have done it in the MySQL -B13306 I think I have. Okay. MySQL, use WebSoft, select from tech. Yeah, so this is the same. And I got the same there. So let's see how the code is structured. So I got a connect test. In PHP, I want to put on verbose error reporting when I'm in development mode. If I don't do that, and depending on the server configuration, on how PHP is configured on the machine that you are running it, you will get errors or not. So when in like this development, I thought, show me all errors and be very verbose about it. On XAMPP, that is default setting, so no problem there. But when you would go to a live server, they usually sort of shut off all error messages because it's a security issue. So then you will eventually turn up with just a blank page when something fails. White page, really hard to sort of troubleshoot that. So I always put on error messages like that. Then we're going to connect to a database. And we have something called DSN, Data Service Name, perhaps? Data source name. That would be more appropriate. So this is actually the connection details. And this is a sort of generic setup. So using a DSN, you can connect to MySQL, MariaDB, Oracle, Postgres, SQLite. So what we have here is we're saying that we're going to go to MySQL. That works for MariaDB also. And I'm going to go to my local host. And for some reason, I'm running my database on port 13306. The default port is 3306 in general. But I'm running it in a Docker container. So yeah, virtual host on my machine, Docker container. So I have had it on another port there. And I also think that all my example programs out there have this port on it. So when you try to run my example programs, most likely they will fail, all of them, because you need to go in to change the port number. So yeah. So I have a database. I call that WebSoft. I want to use character set UTF-8 to make it easier to work with Swedish characters or other characters not in the basic ASCII character set. So I have a username and I have a password, and that is my details. Okay, I'm just setting it up in an array. So I'm going to use them later on when I try to connect. And this is what I do here. So I try to connect. This try catch is a exception handling. I assume you're aware of that. So we are trying all the constructs in this code section. If they fail, or if they throw an exception, or more specifically, if they throw an exception of that particular type, then catch that exception, print out the details, and just throw the error for someone else to catch it. So it's just make it easier to debug for now. So here we go. New PDO. So we have I'm going to switch here. I'm just going to go to the manual. Go. PHP PDO. Perhaps. Maybe. Yeah, whenever. Well, occasionally we'll enter up in the PHP reference manual, and there is a section about this PHP data objects, and it's documented here then as a class. So this is implemented as a class. So we have a PDO class, we have statements, and we have some errors or exceptions down here. And we could also see what kind of databases we can actually connect to here done. So this is the area to read up on if we want more about PDO. So I'm creating a new object, and that will be my database connection item. These are the arguments I'm sending in, so I should read up on them. The whole DSN is sent there, username, password. I'm setting up some behavior things. So how I want this connection to behave. How should the error throws? What would be the default fetch mode? I have different fetch mode. When I fetch data from the database, I can fetch them as an array with key value, numeric array. I could fetch it object style. So it's a, how would I like to do so? I would like to work with an associative array. So it's a key value array that I will get my result set. So I could change that to object style if I'd like to. Okay, so when this is sort of executed, I will have a database object or database connection. And the stuff I do here is we work with prepared statements. It's also a security thing related to not prepared statements. We are preparing the statements. And preparing this results in a instance of the PDO statement class. And when I have this statement, I can sort of execute it. So it's a two-step: prepare the statement, execute it. There. So now I have done select from tech. I haven't fetched it, so I just executed it. Prepared it, executed, and then I should sort of fetch the result set. So this is a result set containing several rows. So I will get an array containing the rows, array of rows, and each row will be a key value array containing all the columns of the of the table then. So I will end up with a result set. So let's print that out just for the fun of it and see how a result set looks like. And that is what we did here. So let's reload that page. So this is a result set. I get an array. Position 1 is the first row, and then I get 4 rows in this result set, so all the rows of the table. And each array then contains a key value, and key value. So, okay, let's move on. So this is a lot of startup code. Let's split that. Where's the... Oh, okay. There's the clock. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna do this until 1400, like we usually do on the afternoons. So I'm just gonna check the clock. Okay. So let's organize our code, because this would turn out messy if we just continue to write the code like this. So here I have some code. Let's see how it actually works. So I take that and I will run my connect program instead. So I have a connect program. I think it only connects to the database and does a select them all from the table, write them out in an HTML table, like this, table element. So let's see how the code for this works now. And it's been structured. So I moved some details out to config.php. I moved that stuff that is sort of basic, essential, startup stuff, relates to all my page controllers. And I have moved some code until a function file. So I created a function. I actually created this function, and obviously this variable dsn must be from, well, it's from this file. So this file here defines this dsn, this file there defines this function. So all my sort of boilerplate code just to get the connection up and running is moved to files. Let's see them. So the config file first. So it got error reporting and it got the connection details for the database. Yeah, okay. So then see the functions. I put it in the source document, source library there. I have this, don't forget this, I have this PHP doc block comment, just a nice way to document my code. And we have the function, it's called function, it has a name, it has an argument, it's supposed to get an array of the DSN, and then the whole thing here is the same, oops, in the last example, and it ends up returning the database connection. So I sort of, yeah, structure my code, move it out. I can work with files, functions, classes. Okay, so I have this connect, I'm connected, great. I am preparing and executing the query, I'm fetching it all. And like I said before lunch, now I'm prepared. I have the result set in a variable. Let's create an HTML document of it. So I stop with my PHP coding and start with my view, with my view file instead, or the view part, the ones actually writing it out. So we have HTML, we have an HTML table, we have a table row, we have a table header. So here is the first row, just putting out the labels with the headers, and then we're doing this for each there. So it's actually, this is PHP starting the for each loop around the result set, loop around the result set, and for each $s, take out the $row and work with it. There we end, and all this then, pure HTML with this short PHP echo tag, prints out sort of each row in the HTML table, and then accessing the $row content through its key. So we got a key ID, we got a key label, we got a key type, and I print it out. Okay? So we're having this page there. And we love to look at so it has some nice formatting to it also. I would say it's, yeah, we should have nice formatting in the source code because it will make it much easier to debug it later on. So the HTML document you produce, let's make it look nice when you view the source. There we go. Okay. And this is how the result set looked like when we were doing our for each around it. So here you see ID, label, type, and so on. Oops. Okay. Let's move on. So what are we going to do? We are going to create something. Create. Okay. So here we have a page. Obviously, I'm trying to create something. Let's say node.js. It's a JavaScript on the server. And enter. Wow. Okay. Let's read the string data truncated. Okay. Data too long for column type at row 1. Okay. So I need to remember how long was that actually. Well, it was a varchar 20. So I think. So JavaScript on. So it was an error message from the PDO connection saying you have a varchar 20. You're trying to put in too many characters into it. So I can create JavaScript on the client side, and I press enter or I click the button well, it shows. Okay. So we're having a flow in this page. So when I go into the page the first time, it looks like this. And then I do something, I try to create an object. Something there, I press it, looks like the same page, but now I got the visibility of this sort of the content of the database table below. Okay, so let's see the code. So we have a create. Okay, so here we got some code. This is the same, so leave that. This one, this is incoming data. Before lunch I showed you how to get incoming data from the query string. This is getting incoming data from a posted form when the form uses the post method. So then I can get it from here. So everything that is posted in the form, I can get into each variable. If it's for some reason not has a value, null coalesce operator will give it a null value. And it's really good to do this sort of var dumping when you're uncertain on what you're actually doing. So I can get it up. Yes, the form was posted. Nice. And it has some content. So I got 3 variables to work with. If we see these 3 variables, we could sort of imagine, okay, we got a label, we got a type, and we got a create button. So we got a label, type, and we got a create. Okay. So let's see if we just move on with that. So if the create button is pressed, or if it has a value, this is the variable has a value. And do a connection, do insert. This is a prepared statement. Have you worked with prepared statements? Yeah, okay, so I just skip, then I don't say what that is. No. So prepare it, there, execute it, send in the variables to be replaced with those, and okay. So let's get the whole result set after we did the update. So this is the current status of the database. So then I have, this is no result set from here. So I got the result set there. I got $s if I push the create button at least. So let's move on to how to generate a page response from this now. So this is a HTML form. So this is a basic, well, I can put up some input text form labels where the user can fill in data. Press the submit button and the data is submitted to the server. So this is just some basic stuff on how to create this. Here is an input field. So here is the name label. Here is the name type. Here is the name create. And these 3 things sort of is matched to, I will roll up, match to what will be contained in the post variable. So the name there matches this key. Okay. So I have a post, it's a text field, and it's a submit button. And I'm saying that this particular form should be a post form. It should be using the form post method. There is also a get method. And the difference is get method sends the information through the query string, and the post type, it sends the data as part of the HTTP body message, so we don't see it. It's sent to the browser, it's sent to the server, but the user don't actually see it. So 2 basic different ways of how to send data to the server. And the final one, it's all about showing off the table, but only if the result set, so only if the form was submitted. We then went in there, we did an insert, and then we got the result set, and then we can show off the table at the bottom. Just looping through the whole result set. Okay? More or less, yes. Then we move on. This is the create. We have create, read, update, delete, CRUD. And so where should we go now? We can go to the update part. Update.php. There we go. So we have an update part. Looks like this. So I have a form. It's a select option. So saying that I should select some item. Okay, I can do that. It's printing out the whole content of the database. So let's get that one. Okay. So I selected an item. And somehow the link up there changed. So it's saying update.php and the query string is item 11. I wonder what happens if I got item 10. Ooh, yeah, and item 1. Yeah, okay, that's nice. So I can create a direct link directly into this page by just saying what is the ID of the row. Okay, ID 2. So let's use this to check that and label it as C#. Code on Windows, but that's not only Windows. It's called on code on platforms, many platforms. So save it. Okay, change down there, and yes, that also changed. Okay, so it seems to work. Let's review that code just to see if it's something different. Basically, when we have set up one of these, create, update, delete, the other ones are more or less similar. Those small things that differ between the code. So, yeah, we include the source, we get the incoming value. Look at this. Here we get the values from the incoming get, and that is the query string. And then we get the values from the incoming posted form, post. So 2 ways to get the incoming values, either through the query string or through the posted form. This is the query string and this is the posted form. So get them all in together to variables, so we can work with them and we can provide them with a default value if we want to. So this is an update, okay? Connect to the database and get everything, because this is populated into the select option list later on. Okay. If I have an item, the item was from the query string. So if the query string is selected, we will get a get the data row that has this ID there, this ID. So this part here, that part is only visible when the query string has selected something. So that part is only visible when I have a query string up there. I wonder what happens if I put 15. Nothing, because the result set is empty. So, if item, show it. If I press the save button, do an update. Do an update there, and let's just stop this script execution here and reload the script from the beginning. So this could be a bit hard when you begin, because the browser, and when the user interacts with the browser, it clicks all the buttons, pages are loaded from the server, you get the response back. So it's useful if you sort of create the basic flow in your head, in your mind. What will happen when I do this? I click on the bottom, browser requests this file, I execute it on PHP, a lot of things happen, I provide the answer back. So this thing here, I decided to not sort of, when I did an update, I had already sort of got all this content from the database that I'm going to use for the select option drop-down. And if I continue the execution here, that select option drop-down would have some not the correct information in it. So I decided, let's just rewrite the whole page. So this is a redirect. It redirects to another page. Could be a result page, but in this case it redirects to the same URL I have here. And I'm just adding this part, the ID of the item I was currently saving. It is not unusual to sort of having a bit hard to sort of get this flow of the document, how it's actually happening, what's happening. Should I do query string? Should I do post? Should I do a redirect or not? So a lot of basic stuff when you're building web applications. But this is doing a kind of CRUD example like this. It sort of forces you to go through all those kinds. So it's a redirect. Go somewhere else. Okay. So let's see how we did it. Update row in the table. First I have the select option. So the drop down. So it's a select with a name. It has an option there. And then I do a loop around result set 1. That was sort of, it was prepared single for this, or for this task then. Just get me a drop down. Okay. If the result set 2 was available, so if I actually have an item to show, yeah, do this whole form thing, post method, we got some input type text, print out the value of it. So here is only one single row we are printing out, just to show the items of, or the columns of this particular item. Okay, so these, well, all this is related to this form here. And then we go to the last part. And this is the same as in the create. It's just print out the content of the whole table. And it's actually using the same result set there, result 1, as we did for the select option drop down. So, and that was always available. So we reused that twice. Okay, so we can update things. Let's see. Go. And there we go. So create, yeah, this is actually read part. Create, read, update. Let's delete some stuff. So we take that, we go to delete. There we go. Yeah, it looks the same. So let's just delete something. Let's delete 11.1. Okay, show me what I'm deleting. Very nice user interface, and delete it. And there we go. End of story. Delete something more. Delete C#. You see up there when I select there, I still get this item 9 there, so it knows what to go. I can change it to 10 C# and delete that. And there we go. Create, read, update, delete. Let's just check how the delete page looks like as its source. Let me just, ooh, a lot of code. Ooh, that was the longest code this far, perhaps? No? Okay, a quickie. Get all the incoming variables, and I'm working both with the query string and the posted form. $get and $post. Different way of getting input into my page controller. So get all information to be able to create a drop down and show the content at the bottom as an HTML page. And if you selected an item, so if the query string contained item something, well, read that from the database and show it up in a form later on. If I push the delete button, if delete is available in the $_post, delete it and go back to the same page, but do it like a redirect, so reload the page from the beginning. This header location is actually sent as it is the complete response sent back from the server to the browser. So the browser gets an HTTP header saying, hey, location, go there instead. And then the browser does a new request and goes to the new place. So the browser does a completely new request there. So delete, more or less exactly as an update then. Yes, showing the drop down, select option, showing what is to be deleted in the form, and having the delete button, and at the bottom just write out the content of the table. Okay, I think that is all. We have seen how we can do functions in PHP. We have seen how we can do classes in PHP and divide it. We have seen that we should do a config file in PHP. There are stuff nice to have in the particular config file. We did a connect to the database, and we just showed off the items. We can create items doing insert, delete, update. Oh, last one. Let's do a search also. We have a search also. Search.php. So this is the beginning of a search engine. So search the database. So what should we search for? I don't know, nothing. Well, nothing and nothing wasn't good. So let's search for an A. Everything contains an A. Let's search for a 2. 2. Okay. So it obviously found that one and that one. Good search engine. Let's see if it finds PHP, P, and another P, 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 and another P, and another P. Okay, so basic idea how that seems to work. let's review the code then. Search. Let's see how large is it. It is, no, 64 rows. Okay. So include the stuff, get the incoming value. There. So we're using with the query string. Let's see that when we have posted this form, so we're searching for P or PHP, we're getting the incoming variable there as the query string. And so we're using get to get it. And when you do search forms, you usually do the get query method. So get that. If it doesn't exist, just leave it with null there. I do this thing since I'm going to, when I write my select code down here, I'm going to do some like, compare the string with the like statement. So that's why I add this %. It's for the SQL wildcard. Okay, so if search contains a value, connect to the database, do a this is a way to write a string on many rows, on many lines. Might be easier, at least when you work with these type of select statements. Then. So select something from tech where ID equal or label like. That is just database stuff. And I'm matching $search to that one. And I'm matching these % search stuff to this one. Fetch them all. And we have the form down here. It's the basic search form. It says, oh, maybe I could use search instead there. There is a search item. Maybe like that. Let's see. Should look the same. Really doesn't matter. PHP. Yeah, there we go. So here I've left out the method post. I'm not using post, I'm using get. But I'm leaving that out since it's, well, that is the default way to do it. And if I did a search, so if that variable has a value, then just show the hits in a table, like there. Loop through the result set. So there are, it's basically a code example for CRUD, create, read, update, delete, as its separate parts. So, and if you want to sort of do this all the way, I think the assignment sets perhaps requirements for grade 5, I think it was. You should just put this together in a nice sort of front end. So show me everything in the table and make it possible sort of to click perhaps on the ID to get some more details on it. Click on the ID to edit it, update it. Perhaps add something to click to delete a specific ID. So giving me a sort of a friendly user interface where I can just click around, so connect all these separate parts. So, questions? Excellent. Then, I mean, the final thing where I will leave you would be one. This is a lotto. This is the final thing, and then I will leave you to it. This is a lotto.php, which will give you a, yeah, it will give you an error. Try to fix that. I'll do it like this instead. So this is a lotto. So this is a PHP script providing you with a JSON answer. So let's just check on how to actually provide a JSON answer instead of a complete web page. And well, it's actually there. So if I want to create a REST API server with PHP, well, this is basically just to answer with a JSON response instead of a sort of standard HTML response. It's like this, and it's more or less the same if we would do it in Node.js, Java. Just write out some data as a JSON data structure, and let the browser know that this is an application of JSON coming here. So interpret it as JSON instead of text. And there I have some array, key value array that will be printed out as this sort of JSON structure then. So I got 2 hits, 1 and 2. Let's see, 4, 5, 6. This is a lotto row. I want to have many right, many points. Let's see. Hits 1, hits 2. Well, it was hard. Okay, I leave you. So yeah, let's do some PHP and databases. Thank you for today, and I just hang around here until 3 o'clock then. Okay, thanks. Thanks.